If you've turned on the TV lately, scrolled through social media, or read the newspaper, you've probably noticed that being nice isn't exactly in fashion. Whether coming from a public figure, a talking head, or a newspaper columnist, it seems like the loudest, most extreme voices are the ones garnering public attention, wealth, and influence. There's an outrage industrial complex in our country that sustains itself by keeping the dial turned to 11. This is especially true in politics, where coercive leaders capture power and electoral victories. But while almost none of us like the yelling, the insults, and the infighting, is there any evidence to suggest that you can push back against coercive leadership? That you can be kind and actually win anymore? Sure, your mom told you to be nice, but out there in the real world, that's terrible advice. These days, you simply can't afford to be nice, right? You know that phrase, nice guys finish last? Here's the thing, it's got the data all wrong. I'm Arthur Brooks. I'm a social scientist and author of the book, Love Your Enemies. In this video, I'm going to tell you about the kind of leaders that succeed in the long run, and it's probably not who you'd expect. Let's start with a fact. Coercive leaders do sometimes bring short-term improvement. And sometimes it can feel like a leader who will shake up the system or stand up to the other side's bully. That's the leader we should support. What we know in our hearts is this. In the end, it's kindness and aspirational leadership, not coercion and contempt, that brings sustained success. Don't believe me? Let's look at the evidence. In 2015, scholars examined the effect of being nice on the likelihood of being sought out for advice, being perceived as a leader, and job performance. Across all three categories, individuals who were consistently kind and civil easily finished ahead of their colleagues who weren't. So from a first look, it's apparent that if you want to be perceived as a leader, sought out for advice, or given more responsibility, you should be nice. But maybe you're not convinced yet. So let's take a closer look at the impact of kindness on leadership effectiveness. Psychologist Amy Cuddy has studied data on roughly 52,000 leaders, ranked by those under their supervision in terms of both likability and leadership effectiveness. What she's observed is stunning. Only 0.05% of leaders, that's only 1 out of every 2,000 leaders, are both in the bottom quartile for likability, but the top quartile for leadership effectiveness. Simply put, no one thinks that the style of leadership we see today is effective. So we all hate the outrage industrial complex. And now we know that kind leaders are actually more successful than coercive leaders. How can we bring about the change that we want? It starts with what psychologist Daniel Goleman calls authoritative leadership in a landmark study of 4,000 CEOs. Unlike the coercive leaders we see in public life today, authoritative leaders do not belittle, blame, or bully. He finds that what makes them more successful than any other kind of leader is that they articulate a unifying and aspirational vision, whether for the company, their country, or their team, and then inspire each member to take responsibility for getting to the final destination. They garner support by offering their encouragement and trust, and they affirm each team member's importance to the work being done, thereby convincing individuals to give their best effort to secure the organization's long-term prosperity. In our personal lives, we can each be authoritative leaders, but how can we get more of them in public life? It starts by saying no to figures who spend their time attacking and blaming others. Maybe it's a TV show host, maybe it's someone you follow on Twitter, maybe it's a politician. But no matter who it is, take some time and ask yourself which leaders you pay attention to who blame and belittle the other side, rather than promoting an aspirational vision that includes even the people who disagree with them. Then, once you've made your list, put those figures on mute. Stop reading their columns. Stop watching their shows. Because as much as we hate the outrage industrial complex, we're the ones who sustain it, which means we're also the ones who can make it disappear if we refuse to be used. The kind of leadership our country needs more of is authoritative leadership. Let's summarize how we can get more of it. First, it's not that you can't afford to be nice. In the long run, you can hardly afford not to. Second, it's not enough just to be kind. We also have to stand up to the dividers on our own side. Once we commit to kindness and authoritative leadership, we'll be far more likely to achieve success. And who knows, we might even be able to bring the country back together. For more on how you can be a better, kinder leader, order your copy of Love Your Enemies and visit www.arthurbrooks.com.